Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Business Spotlight interview series. I'm your host, Harneet, and today we have our lovely Ellie Dunmore with us. Welcome, Ellie. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. A bit about Ellie before we pass it on to Ellie to share about herself. But she's a managing director at Penny Price Aromatherapy and has won multiple awards. I can see the Entrepreneur of the Year award and even for the Business Year of the Year award. Yeah, before we started this, Ellie and I have been having conversations, but I will not share that. I will pass it on to Ellie. Ellie, if you can start with sharing about yourself and about Penny Price a bit more.
Yeah, of course I can. So Penny Price Aromatherapy, we founded the company in 2003. Penny's actually my mother, so I'm second generation to this particular company. But I did join her very early on. So she started the company on her own as an education and training company. And then the therapists that she was starting to train wanted products. And she needed somebody to help her with that element. And I was already working at a different company, specialising in fruit and vegetable distribution and batching and natural and pesticides. She thought I'd be a good fit to come on in and take over the production side of her company with her, so that she could concentrate on the education, and I could concentrate on the dispatching of orders. So that's how I started here. But since then we've grown the business together, and we now have distributors abroad, mainly in Hong Kong and Japan are our biggest distribution centres. And we also white label and manufacture aromatherapy based products for much bigger brands. So that actually came about during the 2008 sort of crash.
Yeah.
And we had to look to diversify, and that's really where that one stemmed from.
Oh, wonderful. That is a very good way of diversification. So, Ellie, I mean, you started as a second generation, but if we go back to at the time when your mom started this, what do you think inspired her to start this business at the first place?
The business inspiration came from two places. The first is that my grandma actually started Shirley Price Aromatherapy Limited back in the 70s, and it is the biggest and was the leading aromatherapy company in the whole of the UK. She really brought aromatherapy into the UK. Before then, aromatherapy as we know it isn't how it is now. But she retired in 1997. And decided it wasn't a good time for my mother to take over the business, so the business was sold. So my mum went and worked for some charities, got her master's in education, did a bit of soul searching, and came back to the conclusion that she wanted to teach aromatherapy.
Oh, wow.
Nothing else sort of worked for her. So after 5-6 years of trying other avenues and working in different areas, she was absolutely convinced that what she needed to do was teach aromatherapy. And so actually with my grandparents' help, she set up Penny Price Aromatherapy Limited.
Oh, wow. That's such a story. So, I mean, we have the whole family of aromatherapists here, yeah?
Yeah, we do. And we're all just as passionate about it. And I think that's really, really important. I'm not sat here. I've worked my way through the company. I started off packing the boxes and now I'm the managing director. So I've worked in every area, and every area of the business is just so fascinating and interesting. And I love what I do. I love every element of it. And I think that's really important when you're running a business, whether you've started it from scratch or whether you're taking it on from somebody else. The passion has to be there, the interest and the love for the subject. Really does. So, I'm one of 8 children, and I'm the only one who's sort of taken an interest in this side of things. So it was in no way sort of forced onto me at all, or, it really is genuinely come from a place of passion and love for the subject, and an intrigue really, because things are always being discovered, new research is always being found. Sometimes you find it yourself, sometimes it's from something somebody shares with you.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That is so wonderful. And what I hear right now, and just reflecting on the fact that how, although it's like a family business passing the baton, but you know, all of you would have had your own learnings in your own ways. You started your journey with packing the boxes and now being the managing director and handling the entire business. So, if you reflect back, what has been your key learnings as an employer since you started this business?
Oh, there've been so many. You know, it's a nearly a 20-year journey here for me now. And having worked as an employee and then moving up to be the employer, you know, I think that the first key difference is obviously the relationships change, but still trying to maintain that element of friendliness with your team, listening to them, you know, onboarding them. You know, I make the ultimate decisions, but it doesn't necessarily mean it was my design or my plan or my thought. You know, a lot of them come from the team, and it's about taking that on board, listening to them, reflecting on what they've said, coming up to solutions together to problems that you find. You might not necessarily go with the solution they found, but it's about keeping that continuous engagement and praising and rewarding them when they help you achieve it, because you know,
Exactly.
without them this business would not be here. So yeah, so that's my biggest learning, has been not letting go, but delegating and allowing ownership and not being in control of every little element of everything that goes on. Some things, you know, I just, you know, it's not that they're not important, everything is important, but some things you have to trust your staff to do. That's why you have them. And that for me was quite a steep learning curve.
I know, definitely delegating, allowing ownership, that's one of the key things which actually one has to learn in that path of, you know, from an employee to a manager, becoming a leader. That is so well said, Ellie. You know, talking about employees and having those sort of team members which are standing next to you and you know who you can trust and delegate. I've often heard from people that sometimes they find it very difficult, you know, how to first recruit, retain, you know, how to create that environment. So any learnings there, you know, how do you foster a positive work environment? What sort of qualities you look at when it comes to team?
Yeah. I mean, we when we recruit, we do have a good recruitment process in place. You know, we don't just go off the CV. I have a phone conversation with everybody before I even offer them a face-to-face interview to make sure that they've got the right confidence, the right mannerisms on the phone, that, you know, that they're going to be able to communicate with my customers. And to be honest with you, once the CV matches and I know that they can use the phone, the next step actually, when I bring them into interview, is all about finding out how they will fit in with my team, because I know they're capable of doing the job by this point. It's not about whether or not they can do the job, and any elements or areas where they're missing what I need specifically, we can train. It then becomes for me more about personality. So a key part of my recruitment process is introducing them to my team, having conversations with my team around the building. And that's why I whittle it down so much to begin with, because, you know, that takes a lot of time for myself and my team as well. So I think it's really important that when you're onboarding somebody new, that they fit on well with the team, and give them an opportunity to sort of really get a feel for the place, because they're interviewing you just as much as you're interviewing them. They really are, and it's really is key to make sure that everybody's going to be able to work together well, especially in a smaller team. You know, if you've got hundreds of people and one person doesn't like another, that's fine. You know, there's 200 people between them. When you're in a team of sort of between 10 and 20, you've got to really have you know, that dependence on each other. Even if they're in completely different areas, they may rely on each other for different things and need help in different ways. So it really is important that the team gets on well together, you know, and that you promote that. So and especially nowadays with the the working in different areas, you know, so some of our team do work from home, some of us are on site permanently, some of us do a bit of a hybrid. So it's really important that we at least come together once a month, share a cup of coffee and a slice of cake, and just, you know, yes, we have a team meeting, we have a catch up on business, but afterwards we have a good solid half hour to an hour of tea and cake and just talking and reconnecting, and making sure that those friendship bonds are in place, so they know they can rely on each other.
Yeah, absolutely. That is so important. And that is why, you know, we see that major part of your success journey, because it's having the right people in the right seats, which leads to the growth. So I'm thinking about, you know, when I speak to business owners similar to yours and looking at their challenges, most of their challenges fall in either of the three places. It could be the team, it could be the time, or the money aspect of the business. What do you see as a challenge?
For me, the team is solid. I've got a really good solid team here. You know, it's taken us a long time. We have long committed staff here. When we lose somebody, it's generally through to retirement. It's not for any other reason. So I am really fortunate in that regard. When it comes to time, we have default diaries in place. We have allocated times for get-togethers and meetings, and they do allow flexibility as well. So that's fine. I think with most people at the moment, for us in the UK, it is the money. You know, we are in a cost of living crisis, and aromatherapy is very much seen as a luxury item. Although well-being is right up there at the moment among a lot of people's primary concern. They don't often think of aromatherapy as being well-being, you know, which we are. You know, we're a holistic approach to so many different things, aches and pains, sleep, mental health and anxiety, as well as everything else. It's not just a nice smelly massage. There's so much that goes into it, and I think that it's getting that message across, actually, that we're clinical aromatherapists. So we actually look at the individual, and whatever treatment we give to you is bespoke. You know, it's not something we just grab off the shelf when we see you face to face. And actually, the products that we sell online to retail, they haven't just been bung together. They have been, you know, looking at years worth of past case studies and people that we've helped and treated, and using, you know, what we have as a combination of what's worked well for the majority of people to try and recreate something that would really genuinely help a lot of people. So yeah, so at the moment for us, it is more the cash flow, and especially since the cost of living. I mean, Brexit hasn't helped. I won't go down that road, nor did the coronavirus, and I'm not touching that. And even difficulties we've had with the Suez Canal, we had products on there, so that didn't help. And the unfortunate events in the Ukraine have also had an impact, because they were one of the biggest leading suppliers of sunflower oil, which is a core product for us. And although we never sourced ours from Ukraine, everybody else started using our sources, so that they could, you know, still have what they needed to continue their business. So that's been a bit rocky as well.
Yeah, you see, I mean, things which we can't control, these are the macroeconomic factors. Yeah, that's things absolutely which we can't control. But absolutely right. This is what I heard, you know, when the business grows up to a level, especially the cash flow, the money aspect, you know, the inflow and the outflow, the gap there really starts impacting, because it's you know, we say revenue is vanity, profit is sanity, cash is king. So it's the amount of cash you get in the business, you have that limited cash to spend out. So it has to be the right match. But yeah, no, thanks for sharing that. So Ellie, what is the vision for the business next 5 years? Where do you see?
Oh, the next 5 years. We're actually at the moment, I am planning to go into more retail outlets. At the moment, we're available via our distributors in different countries. but they deal mainly with therapists. So at the moment, our main focus has always been to support the therapists that we've educated in aromatherapy. They work hard to get their diploma, and then it's about giving them a trusted source for their oils and for everything that they do. And then our second focus has always been on our key clients, so the people that we formulate for really, and manufacture for on larger scales that are out there in retail. And it just hit us, if we can formulate a product and mass manufacture it in the tens of thousands for another company, and they can sell it in some very prominent high street and retail stores and outlets, why can't we do it with our own product? And I know what's in our product, and I know it's the best of the very best. And I know it will work. And you just think, actually, that is where we need to be next. So at the moment, it's about looking at our product development. We've been assessing what we've put in them as well, to make sure that we're still using the most natural, most sustainable ingredients. That's something we've always done. It's not a new thing, because that's what's trending. It is part of our core ethos. So it is very, very important to us. So we've just been, checking through everything, double checking through everything, bit of market research on new branding, new labeling, and positioning in the market and where we want to start. We're not going to go and try for like the big guys straight away. That's something we want to build up to. We have the capabilities downstairs to go for the big guys straight away. But I think as a learning journey, taking things step by step, as I've been to so many business events and things, and it sometimes is a blessing, but a lot of the time, from what I've learned from others, actually it's been a downfall, where they've taken such a big leap and they've put so many eggs in one basket, and it's caused them stress, it's caused them issues. They've not come out with the result they wanted. They've not come out with the profit margins they wanted, and it's led to other things spiraling for them. And I think actually, if we go for the mid-level and work our way up to where we'd ultimately like to be in 5 years' time, which is a major retailer. So that's my 5-year plan. Like I say, step at a time.
Wow. So retail it is, retail outlets next 5 years. We will keep an eye on, penny price aromatherapy in every retail store. That is so wonderful. I love the vision. My last question to you, and this is my favorite one. If you have to start your business from the scratch, what would you do differently?
What would I do differently? I'm going to be honest with you. I think I would do more research from the very beginning of what I might need further down the line. Because when you start at the beginning, you're full of ideas and inspiration. You want to do this, and then you're going to do that and that and that. And it sounds wonderful. Map that out and work out what is achievable when, and not to do everything all at once, because it becomes a fuddled mess in your head. Don't be afraid to ask for help, and make sure you've got good connections in place. Some of the best advice and the best information I've had in my business has been absolutely free, and it's come from networking with the right group of people, joining the right online platforms, making sure I'm using business search engine things to the right capabilities, and that I've joined the right groups with my area. So I've joined sort of the East Midlands Chamber of Commerce, and they have been so supportive and so good throughout my whole journey in so many different areas. And you, even if you go to them and you know they're not the right people, they point you in the right direction. Yeah. So for me, it's I would have had a less confused starting plan, and I'd have found some help to back me up before I got to where I got, really. Definitely, because it's been a whirlwind, an amazing one, but it's definitely been a whirlwind.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it could be it sometimes it can be a tricky journey, being a business owner alone. But I get your point, more clarity, better planning, long-term planning, I would say, and being in the right sort of community from the very start, because you can learn from others' mistakes and you don't do those mistakes on your own then. So, no, thank you, Ellie. It was such a wonderful speaking to you. Me and the viewers wish you all the best. And as I said, sky's the limit. Penny price aromatherapy in all the retail stores. We will be keeping an eye for that.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks. Take care.